What up? What up, man? Y'all already know the vibes, man. If you woke up this morning, you already won. I hope you've done something by now that your future self will thank you for, man. You are tuned in to another live episode of the Ultimate 216 Show. I'm Earl of Pearl. That's my homie Cecil Shorts. What up, bro? How are you this week?
I'm good, man. It's rainy up here. It's rain. Is it raining in Cleveland right now?
No, but rain is in the forecast. It's been like
Mm.
scattered showers this week, coming off like a really, really nice holiday weekend. Yo, I don't know how close you are to the situation that took place in Texas with the floods and everything, man. But prayers out to everybody down there. A lot of lives lost. Natural disaster, man. Like that's emotionally draining. Me and you talked a couple episodes ago. Seem like the older we get, the more emotional we get behind things like that. So thoughts and
Yeah.
prayers to everybody out there that's impacted by what's going on. What's it been like for you? You stay in Houston, Texas. Like, what's going on down there?
So it's in Kirk County, like
Mhm.
central Texas, and there were just some floods. There were just some big time floods, and the sad situation is there was a girls' camp that's in Kirk County,
Mhm.
and camps are big down in Texas, like where girls, guys, they go to these camps, whether they're church camps or just summer camps, and they have a good time for a week or two. So parents, kids dropping their family off or dropping their kids off, thinking it's gonna be a great time, and boom, this huge flood happens, and a lot of people are missing. A lot of people have passed away. So definitely praying for everyone in that situation, man. It's one thing about Texas, nothing is everywhere in every state, but in Texas, because I'm here, people really come together when things like this happen. So a lot of people are reaching out and trying to figure out what they can do to help out. If not, travel down there, give money, give canned goods, whatever the case may be. So it's a sad time, but it's definitely bringing people together. So prayers up to Kirk County, and hopefully they can find everybody and get things back to normal.
Big facts. Sorry, before we go any further, it's a good time to let you know that today's episode of the Ultimate 216 Show is brought to you by Epicor. Every team knows the value of hard work or of taking pride in what you build and practicing everyday details to get the best results. But no one player, no matter how amazing, can do it all alone. Working together makes getting the win easier. At Epicor, the All Stars are the hardworking manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver the things we all need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices. Epicor solutions are created by industry experts to help make every day easier. Seeing your whole supply chain is easier. Managing your logistics is easier. Responding to price changes is even easier. From small businesses with big dreams to growing enterprises with global vision, we'll equip you with the right tools to move forward, think ahead, and lead the way. Because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most of every hardworking minute. Easier doesn't cut corners, easier finds the lane. Discover your success at www.easierwithepicor.com. That's www.easierwithepicor.com. As I said, man, stacked show today. We're going to debut a new segment at the end of the show that we hope to make this a staple. It's called Top 5 in the Land, where two inner city kids, man, give you our top 5 favorite whatever week to week that has some tie back to Cleveland. We're going to talk about a Cleveland Browns player that was named by Bleacher Report as the most promising building block. But when we start the show today, Cleveland Cavaliers Summer League take place tomorrow. So without further ado, it's time to bring in the homie Spencer Davies, who covers the Cavaliers for Cleveland Cavaliers on SI, man, basketball writer for RG Media and Babcock Hoops, man. This is my dog. He's always in the know. He's always he's funny as hell and very got some very solid quality Cavs takes. So he's going to join us right now to help us preview the Cleveland Cavaliers Summer League. What's up, my guy?
What's going on, Earl? Cecil, really
How
good
you
to meet you,
feel?
man. And I appreciate the intro there, Earl. That was very nice of you. So thanks.
This is your debut on the
Awesome.
show, right?
Yes, sir. Sure
So of
is.
course, man,
Oh,
people don't know, man. He's also an Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show contributor. My man gets down. I was watching you and Danny Cunningham on a Locked On Cavs earlier this week, and I thought that was phenomenal. Summer League play gets started tomorrow. Omar Cook got the nod to be the head coach this year. Talk a little bit about Omar Cook and what the fans can expect to see from him, because he's a guy that's behind the scenes that doesn't really get too much of the shine.
So I love it that Omar got his first shot at this head coaching experience. He's somebody who's done this a long time, not the coaching part, but a player. 21-year pro coming from Christ the King in New York. Just an awesome story, just climbing up those coaching ranks last year, an assistant under Kenny Atkinson. And now he's getting the opportunity to kind of demonstrate what his knowledge is, but with his voice instead of with his play. And that was I think, what stood out when we talked to him a couple days ago, was that's an adjustment for a player to go from on the court to on the sidelines and have to have your message convey. You have to learn how to use your voice. You got to learn how to show them what you want them to do in a different way. So it'll be cool to see him kind of step into that role. And this is something that he wants to do for the rest of his life and the next phase of his career. So more love to him, and I'm excited to see what he does in Vegas.
Spence, well, can I call you Spence? Is that
You
all
can't.
right? Okay, good. I know we just met. I want to make sure that's good. Tyrese Proctor, 49th overall pick. I love the summer league because I get to see all the rookies in action. And this is basically like, I guess, similar to college. You have some guys that have been in the league already for a year or two. I know Craig Porter Jr. is going to be on the roster. He's a little older, so you have some guys that have been around. But what should we expect from Proctor in this summer league?
Well, I think that the first thing you're going to see him do is take a lot of shots. Have the green light right away to be able to throw those things up. And I think the defensive end too is another way you can kind of pay attention to him. He's somebody that really has a lot of experience of playing with winning players. The way that he's been at Duke the last 3 years and a lot of NBA prospects. I think for his first couple years, it was an adjustment for him because he came over a year early from Australia. He was at the NBA Global Academy in Canberra, and he was playing with guys and training with guys like Dyson Daniels, one of his best friends, Josh Giddey, all those guys that have made their names internationally. And he came over a year early, and that's a huge adjustment going from what he knows, coming over to the States and having to play for a very, very highly respected program like Duke. And we know just how much pressure there is playing and putting on that Blue Devil uniform. So him this past year, his entire starting five got drafted to the league. So that's not anything to scoff at. To be able to play with that type of talent the entire time you're there in Cameron Indoor, that's really impressive. But as far as Summer League goes, I think they're just going to give him the green light, see what he's capable of. And look, Craig Porter Jr. and Jaylon Tyson, from what I understand, are only going to play 1 game, 2 game max. So he's going to have a chance to really showcase what he's capable of, I think, over this Summer League stint in these 5 games.
I was going to ask about Jaylon Tyson next. Why do you think that is? What led to that decision to only play those 2 games, those 2 guys about 1 or 2 games?
Well, I feel like this is a good opportunity, and this is also what Summer League is about, is to put them in an environment where they have to take the lead. And I think for them, that's good experience. It's not even about what happens on the court. It's about leading a team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're trying to help show the team what you're able to do so that when you do get that call up, when you do get that rotational spot with the real group, then you're ready for it. And Craig Porter Jr., he came out yesterday and talked about how he wants to be the Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland of this group as far as finding his voice and leading on and off the court, whether it's at practice, whether it's at team dinners, all that stuff. That is very important to exhibit because we know what these guys can do on the floor, but it's the stuff that comes with it that I think is important in professional sports. And Craig Porter Jr. is going to be on his 3rd Summer League, so he's not going to need all of those reps, I don't think. It's more about that leadership. It's more about that work ethic that they've been really pounding in and at training camp this week. And Jaylon Tyson, for me, I think it's an opportunity for him to show a little bit more offensively. I think for the most part, last year, a little bit of a mixed bag. Kenny talked about multiple times he was playing with a lot of guys that he wouldn't be playing with in the rotation. So a lot of his numbers kind of got skewed. Maybe a little bit of the rhythm got skewed. But he was when he was in there with like Donovan and Darius and Evan, like he looked like an NBA player at times. So I think that him getting this opportunity at Summer League, maybe take more shots, maybe show more than just the hustle. And we saw some of that last year in Las Vegas. I remember covering the game with him and the Cavs against the Lakers and the whole Bronny hype and Dalton Connect. And Jaylon looked like one of the best players on the floor in that game. And I think this year it's about him taking more shots. It's about him playmaking and doing more than the hustle stuff. And then opening the eyes of the coaching staff and of the organization, say, hey, you know what? I am ready for this rotational spot. And I think with the departure of an Isaac Okoro and with the departure of a Ty Jerome, that I think Jaylon Tyson's going to be able to crack this thing. And same with Craig Porter Jr. I know Lonzo came over, but it's going to be a by committee approach, I think, to try and fill that void that Ty Jerome left.
I think that's where I wanted to go to. Here you talk about Craig Porter being another rotational piece, and even Tyrese Proctor probably can get in that rotational thing if he does that. He has a good training camp and a good summer league. Give me your thoughts on Lonzo Ball. If he can stay healthy, how good can he be for the Cavaliers? And then you mentioned, can Craig Porter, can Tyson, can Proctor, can these guys help with that rotational piece coming up forward?
So I think like there's obviously a pecking order. I feel like Craig and Jaylon would have the first kind of stint at that, and then Tyrese could work his way in just by being grandfathered in. That's just an opinion of mine. That's not anything that I was talking to people about. But when it comes to Lonzo, I feel like it's a really good addition if he's healthy. Remember, we cannot forget or scoff at the fact that he's played 70 games over the last 4 years. That's not ideal. But Lonzo, talking to us, was very assured that his knee feels great. It's been more or less some bad luck with the wrist. That's not anything that's of concern. With Lonzo, you get a pass first guy. You get a very selfless player who just wants to hoop. Quite frankly, defensively, he's got one of the best basketball minds I think that we've watched since he's come into the league. He's just very much so aware. And I think that's the key word with Lonzo. He's a ball mover. He does not let it stick. He'll take shots, but he's going to be looking to get everybody else to eat first before he does. And I think that's really solid to be kind of an engine of that second unit. I think that his most endearing quality in my eyes is just a basketball junkie. I love how he launches the ball up the floor. How many times in the finals did you see Tyrese Halliburton throw those three-quarters court passes? We've seen it here in Cleveland with Kevin Love when he does that whole home run pass thing. Lonzo, he's able to fit him into crevices that you would not think would be possible. He's also somebody that is going to get it up the floor, make sure guys get quick shots, good shots, and he can rebound too. His athleticism is not quite where it's been in the past, obviously with the injury history, but his mind certainly is, and he can think the game really well. And I feel like that's a solid trade-off for the Cavs because I don't think you can really play that off the floor in a playoff series because you know what he's going to bring to the table individually, defensively, what he's going to bring with his IQ, and he's not going to stop the ball. So, again, very contingent on staying healthy, and I think the Cavs performance staff, the way they did their job last year was second to none. They got to the playoffs pretty much full, clean bill of health, had some really terrible luck at the wrong time. But their whole plan of getting to that point, I think, was pretty much flawless. So I think it'll be good for him. I think it'll be good for Larry Nance Jr., who's also dealt with that injury history. But Lonzo, I think, is as far as being a two-way player, as well as being someone that knows the game, really solid addition.
I know for me, the move for Lonzo Ball really got me excited as well. When I think about Lonzo and I think about the injuries, I don't know about you all, but we all are from this area, and Cleveland Clinic is known as one of the best hospitals in the entire world, not just the country. And so whenever you have your professional sports team affiliated with one of the best hospitals in the entire world, it makes you feel a little bit better about injury and recovery and things like that. But to me, everything has been talked about Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley taking this next step, and I think Lonzo Ball getting the opportunity. I think possibly he'll earn an opportunity to start the season if he's healthy. That's just my gut. Darius won't be there, and I think he will go. I think his style of play will go a long way in unlocking that next level of Evan Mobley. You mentioned him being a pass first guy, a guy that likes to set up, his teammates. We've talked a lot about trying to get Evan Mobley's usage rate up. Donovan has said publicly, I need about 20 shots a game. And so I think when you have Lonzo out there running point, I think it kind of helps get that situation going in the right direction. And then you talk about having a guy that, you can't really pick on the defensive side of the ball. I just think if Lonzo is healthy, we're going to learn a lot of what the Cleveland Cavaliers can do with that particular style of point guard, and it'll be interesting to see what he can add. You mentioned Larry Nance, right? You get a backup veteran big that can play off of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, and same with him if he's healthy. You've seen him start taking more 3-point shots a game. You've seen that 3-point percentage rise from the corner. So I'm excited about the movies that Kobe Altman has made. When you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers offseason, how would you assess Kobe's moves?
So I think with Ty Jerome and the Sam Merrill decision, the whole picking between the two, I'm still kind of indifferent on it. I think Ty Jerome is a hell of a scorer, and that's going to be hard to replace with just one guy. I see you, Earl. We know what it is over at Rocket Arena. Cecil, if I could tell you how many times I looked over at this dude, and he'd just be staring at me as soon as Ty would hit one of his floaters or a transition 3 pull-up every single time.
One game, man. Right? We sitting down, getting ready to do our thing. I look over Spencer. I tell Spencer, I said, Ty gonna drop 30 tonight off the bench. He just looked at me. I got the 28. He ain't get the 30.
He ended up with 28.
That's cool.
But that's tough to replace. That's tough to replace because it's somebody that can just come out and score as quick as he can and as volume as he can. And that floater, I think he was shooting damn near 60%. Feel like he didn't miss any until like February. So that's not easy to replace, but you just stylistically have to make a few changes. And I think that's where Kenny Atkinson comes in, where he's able to adapt to the talent that he has. And I think he's going to love Larry Nance Jr. in the 15 to 20 minutes that he needs him, whether it's at the 4 or the 5, or if he gets really wacky and plays him with Dean Wade and DeAndre Hunter. Like, you never know what he's going to do with that. So his playmaking ability, you mentioned it, Earl. Larry's been shooting the heck out of the ball over the last few seasons and became a really solid stretch big. But he's also somebody that's going to get you the tip-ins. He's going to get you the tip backs. Find cutters from the middle of the floor. He's solid at dribble handoffs, so I can see plenty of sets where he's going to do that with Sam Merrill and guys that come around and try to create a little bit more juice in the half court. But I overall, I think, oh, and I have to mention too, Isaac Okoro, you are absolutely going to miss that defensive mentality. You're going to miss that bulldog that's going to get through screens, and you're going to be able to put him on the opponent's best player. Like, you're going to miss that part. But unfortunately for Ice, the offense just never came through when it mattered in April and May, and they just had to take a new direction and move on. And, it's unfortunate that had to happen, but I think the trade-off when you get Lonzo Ball, when you get Larry Nance Jr., I think that it's a solid couple of moves. I just think you kind of have an indifferent grade for me right now as far as how it works out, just because they haven't been a part of this. But I think they're ultimate professionals, and they should fit in the group pretty well, and get a couple more vets in here too.
I tell you what, this is my last question. There's not too many times where Cleveland gets to have the stars that we have in this city right now. Now, I'm not talking players, I'm talking fathers. LeVar Ball and Deion Sanders. When it comes to the daddies, when things go awry, who is going to speak up first, Spencer? Will it be LeVar or will it be Deion? What's your guess?
I'm going to guess it'll be LeVar. I'm just going to say, and hey, just disclaimer, those two dads should be so extremely proud of what they've done for their kids. For them to be professionals at all is amazing, and they spoke it into existence and they coached them into existence. So that, I think LeVar is a little bit more out in the open, I think, than Deion is. Deion does his a little more subtly, I think, and he's at press conferences or whatnot. LeVar will just call into a studio, probably like just hot, regardless, even if he wasn't like on, an interview segment or something like that. He'll just call in. He'll call into one of the radio stations and be like, "Why isn't my boy playing?" or something like that. So, I would have to lean towards LeVar, but I mean,
I hope it's my.
That's just remarkable to me. The fact that he's got, three sons that I mean, they've all made the NBA. Two of them, obviously, solid NBA players. And then a third son who's going into a rap career now. So he had to do something right to get there.
It's crazy for real.
All right, man. So I guess final question for me, as you look at this roster, right? Look at the Summer League roster. And I always try to find guys that I don't know too much about that might stick out, that I might heard name buzzing. And this kid, Jackson Robinson, I
Mhm.
asked Mikey McNuggets about him earlier today.
Oh,
He
he
said
loves
a
him.
very talented kid, can't stay healthy. What is it about Jackson Robinson that has the fans that know basketball more in depth than I do really excited?
I think just the shooting element of it, and the fact that he's got a little bit more seasoning to him as far as like his college career, playing for big time programs, and I think that the fact that he's got the size too, 6'7", 6'8", able to score the basketball, defend. I feel like this is a good audition for him to try and get from Exhibit 10 to two-way with that
Mhm.
open spot. We know that Amani Bates obviously will not be a part of the team as a two-way contract player. So that spot's open and it's up for grabs. And as far as like other, summer league additions that I'm, just intrigued to watch, definitely Saliu Niang. I don't know if this guy's going to be over here at all ever in his career, but just being in the gym, he is long. He's like Inspector Gadget, man. And he's like 18, 19 years old. That is a moldable piece of clay to me, and he's able to defend. He's able to slash. That jump shot is the stuff that they need to work on with him over in Italy at Virtus Bologna. There's a couple other names on there. No Chad Omer from Baylor, I think has some talent to him. But Summer League, remember, this isn't just an audition for the Cavs. This is an audition for every team around the league for them to get a job. And even outside of the league, there's European clubs watching, there's Puerto Rican clubs watching, there's Euro League clubs watching. So it's an important chance for them to showcase what they're capable of. And I look forward to seeing it. Collectively, Summer League is not usually the best basketball. And we saw that the first couple of days over in Salt Lake City. There were some very, very ugly shooting performances, but individually you can definitely find some diamonds in the rough, and I just love Summer League for just the camaraderie and the event itself. The networking is amazing, and you get to see a lot of people that you don't see very often, so I'm looking forward to being out there.
He's Spencer Davies, man. Spencer, man, tell her where they can find your work before you get out of here.
Yeah, I'm at Spin Davies on X and on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel with my guys over at Cleveland Cavaliers on SI. We got all the interviews that the Cavs do. We got all the podcasts we do, Courtside with Cavs on SI with Spencer German, produced by Anthony Maglin. We do that weekly. I'm also over at RG Media. I do got to give myself a little pat on the back. I had my first national breaking news story last week with Miles Turner and the contract details of what the Pacers offered him. That's 12 years in the industry, guys. I'm not going to lie. It's a good feeling. That's the first time I've ever done something like that. So, but that's up there. I also do draft work for Babcock Hoops, and as Earl said, some behind the scenes stuff for Ultimate 216, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and hopefully you see more of me as the years go on.
Awesome.
He can cook a little bit too, just a little bit, but we ain't gonna go there.
Just a little now.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Hey, bro, man, we appreciate you taking time out your day to join us, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
All right, man. Shout out to my guy, man.
He was awesome.
That's a cool dude, bro.
Man, he was awesome. He did a great job.
All right, man. Before we move on to our next subject, man, it's a good time to let y'all know, man, that this next portion of the show is brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on a game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to get started. So this next topic, set this up for us. So you were scrolling the web and you seen Bleacher Report talking about Cedric Tillman. And I assume they go through at this time of the year, training camp is around the corner, and they find different rankings for each team. And for the Cleveland Browns, it was the most promising building block. And it was one, Cedric Tillman. Now, we all know Cedric Tillman balled out when he had his opportunities last year with Jameis Winston at quarterback. And you see overall what he's done for his career. Not over the top impressive, anything to wow you, but I think anybody who has watched him play can see that there's a ton of potential there. And we just kind of waiting on him to put it all together. When you look at Cedric Tillman at wide receiver, former wide receiver yourself, what's your initial thoughts of him, his game, just how he go about his business, etc.?
Love him. I actually love the potential I see in him. I think he's a good route runner. I think he's explosive. I think he's a very good complement to Jerry Jeudy. The only thing is, I wish we would have seen more last year. He had struggled with some concussions after that, but his first 3 games, I believe, with Jameis were outstanding. And he made plays over and over again, made some tough catches. But he's a smooth guy. He knows how to get open, knows how to create separation. So I see the potential in him. It is about him putting multiple games together and seeing how this year go. But definitely, I think he can be a really good talent in the NFL for a good amount of time.
Yeah, I look at this dude, man. Even Marvin Harrison Jr., if you look at pictures of him from his rookie season to his second season, he even had to grow into his NFL body. And it seemed like Cedric Tillman kind of came into the league, built like already an NFL wide receiver. The few pictures and videos I saw of him this offseason when he was available, he looks a little slimmer. He looks a little lighter on his feet. But this tells me that he worked on acceleration and speed during this previous offseason. I think if he can stay healthy and put it all together, I think there's some talent there. And the games with Jameis, he had 21 catches, 255 yards, and 3 touchdowns over those 3 games with Jameis Winston. And so you talk about quarterbacks with big arms that's going to stretch the field. We all know what Joe Flacco is about. And this is kind of music to Joe Flacco's ears to be able to have a guy that he's worked with already in the past. And, I remember during those closing games of that season, during his rookie season, Cedric Tillman was struggling with route running, in particular inside the red zone. And you would see Joe Flacco over there pretty much on his ass working with him. And so I think that chemistry and that past relationship, I think it helps him as well. But this is a young man that, going into year 3, I think if healthy, he has an opportunity to put it all together and possibly solve one of those wide receiver issues with the for the Cleveland Browns, because you're in a room and there's not really much competition, to be honest with you, and I don't say that to slight anybody that's there, but you just look at that position group like all together, and it's one of the weaker groups on the entire roster, if we're being totally honest. So you get a chance to go in there and really kind of like solidify yourself as the number 2 wide receiver. You up against guys like Jamari Thrash and Deontay Johnson. So this dude, if he can put it all together, I think it'll be sweet.
It's gonna be a great year for him. He can put it. Year 3 in the league is around the time for a receiver. If you haven't already, it slows down for you. You know how to be a pro. You know how to take care of your body. You know what's expected. He's been with the same offensive head coach the last 3 years. Flacco's familiar with him, so I expect some big things from him. Honestly, if he can just stay healthy and stay on the field, he should have a pretty good year.
Y'all let us know what y'all think. Is Cedric Tillman one of the Cleveland Browns' most promising building blocks for the 2025 season? Don't forget, man, like, subscribe, put your comments in the chat of what you think, and let us know where you're watching from as we get ready to close this show. Also, catch the rest of the Ultimate spinoff shows under the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube channel, man. The Ultimate Guardian Show, Ultimate Browns with G. Bush, who I think gave y'all the show earlier today. I have not checked it out yet. Ultimate Cast, and of course the Ultimate 216 show right here with me and my man Cecil Short. So we teased this earlier today, and this is the Ultimate 216 show. Me and Cecil are actually from Cleveland. We're not from surrounding suburbs. We are actually from the inner city of Cleveland, Ohio. When our mail came to our house as a kid, it said Cleveland, Ohio at the bottom. And we try to find different cool ways, fun ways to tie back our childhood and us just growing up in Cleveland to this show. And we started thinking about different top 5s that we can do. And of course, during this episode, after this episode, if you got any top 5 ideas that we can do that's Cleveland related, give us those suggestions, man, and you might see your idea on the next Ultimate 216 show. But today, we are going to do our top 5 favorite athletes to watch in the city of Cleveland who's played for a Cleveland team that's not named LeBron James. And we're going to call this top 5 in the land. Cecil, we're going to do your list first.
Okay.
All right. Let's bring up your list. Talk about it. This is Cecil's top 5 in the land, favorite athletes to watch. You got Omar Vizquel, not a bad choice. Josh Cribbs, Anderson Varejao, Wild Thing, Kenny
Wow.
Lofton, and Boobie Gibson. Talk about your list.
Man, well, I got two Indians on there. And I think it's important to know the years we grew up, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we grew up in the 90s, especially the early 90s. The Indians were phenomenal. And they were the Indians back then. They weren't the Guardians, right? They were the Indians.
Right.
They were phenomenal. So those two guys, shortstop, center field, they were amazing. They were top tier what they were doing. Like Omar's on my list because I would try to do everything he did. The bare hand catches, everything at shortstop was about. Like he was just special. Like to this, 11 gold gloves. He was unreal. And then Kenny Lofton, just one of the best athletes in the game, out in center field, doing his thing, climbing walls, stealing bases. It was just a fun time. And I can name Sandy Alomar. I can name Jim Tomey. I can name so many guys, Earl Hershiser, like so many guys that were a part, Manny Ramirez, of the early 90 Indians that made that time fun. Just those two, they were just so fun to watch. They were amazing when they were playing. So I had to have Omar first, and then my man Kenny fourth. Josh Cribbs. Josh Cribbs is on that's number two. And I almost put another receiver on there. I'll get to him in a second. But Josh Cribbs was just fun to watch. He was fun to be a part of. When the Browns were not good, he was. So he held it down in a way where he wasn't the best receiver, but he was really good at returning. He was really good at his role. And I respect him so much because he mastered his role in the game. He only played about 20-ish plays a game, but he was a master in that particular role. He did the best he could in that role, and he made it fun to watch Cleveland Browns games. Now, when you talk about the Cavaliers, wild thing comes to mind. Oh man, you talk about somebody playing a role. Anderson Varejao. He was somebody I depended on every night. Him and Boobie Miles. I'm sorry, Boobie. I said Boobie Miles. Boobie Gibson.
Hey, tell me you about to go watch Friday Night Lights. See what I'm telling me, you go to watch Friday Night Lights out there down in Texas, boy. I understand you want to win.
Boobie in. But I tell you what, I like Boobie for a different reason. I like Keisha Cole. So when he started dating Keisha Cole, it was something about Keisha Cole that just like got my attention. I'm like, ooh, she is bad to me. I don't know what it was.
They don't understand the conversations we was having in high school around this time when Keisha Cole is like the hottest R&B singer at the time.
Yep.
Like we juniors and seniors in high school, so we feeling ourselves, and it's like, man, like we got Brian. Boobie girl is Keisha Cole.
Oh,
like
man.
I ain't gonna front for me, dog. It was Game 6 versus Detroit, man. Like when Boobie turned up and sent us to our first ever like NBA Finals. That was crazy. And you think about all the Eastern Conference championships the Cavs then won. That's the only one that we celebrated at home.
Oh wow,
the only one.
Oh wow, okay, and that was the good Pistons team. Okay,
think about it, man. The Cavs with Brown, we were sweeping everybody, so it was pretty much
on the road. It was on the road.
Yeah, everything was on the road. So your list is fire.
Oh wait, one more. I had a Dennis Northcutt. If y'all remember Dennis Northcutt, we shared the same birthday. We shared the same birthday. That's why I watched.
I don't care. I can't even believe you brought that up.
Listen, that's my guy, man.
Listen, man.
That's my guy.
It was all good. It was all good until you dropped a crucial ass fourth down that would have secured the Cleveland Browns playoff victory.
Oh,
3 years after returning? You know what I mean? Like, just imagine, like, bro, like, anyway. Yo, two people that trigger. Hey, that might be our next list. Top 5 most triggering athletes in Cleveland history. I'm gonna tell you right now. Dennis Northcutt and Jose Mesa on that list.
Jose Mesa for sure.
All right, so a couple more minutes before we get out of here. Here's my list. Here's my top 5 favorite athletes to watch in the land right here. Number 1, like you, I got a Cleveland Indians player because, like you said, it's important to understand where me and you grew up, the time we grew up in. The Browns wasn't here. The Cavs wasn't good. The Cleveland Indians was selling out the Jake every damn game, and the lineup was crazy. I'll take it a step further. Manny Ramirez is my all-time favorite baseball player. Like, Manny is that guy to me, right? Number 2, I got Nick Chubb. Like, because who don't love Nick Chubb? One of the most exciting athletes you've seen don a Cleveland Browns jersey since 1999. Number 3, Kyrie Irving. Bad job out of you, Cecil, for not having Kyrie on your list, man. Like he's the second best Cavalier in history behind LeBron James. He hit the biggest shot in Cavs history before LeBron even showed back up.
Whoa. Second best Cavalier in history?
Second best Cavalier in history.
I don't know.
Mark it, book it. Josh Gordon. Now I know it was short-lived, but to this day, tell me when you seen another wide receiver in Cleveland like Josh Gordon, right?
Never.
And then number 5 for me, man, my boy. I was only conflicted once in my life, but my boy, Joe Hayden. Yeah, cover up your face. Cover up your face. When I tell y'all, man, Joe Hayden was my favorite Browns player for the longest, bro. Like, I love the cornerback position. The Browns hadn't had a shutdown corner like ever, and this dude was straight lockdown to me. To me, I can't believe I'm about to say this. It wasn't a wide receiver that you could put this man up against, and it wasn't about to be curtain call. And so this dude and the camera decided to get busy late in the game in the fourth quarter at home on Joe. And I remember when the camera cut to Joe after that touchdown you scored, and he was sitting on the bench pissed, salty, like just. And I'm sitting up here conflicted, confused, watching my back because I'm at the game, right? I'm there. I don't know whether to cheer or shut the hell up or be pissed. I'm so conflicted. And I'm like, if this is anybody else, like, I'm trying to find some type of way to get Joe up out of it. But when they saw the replay, I said, hey, Cecil, cooked his ass. Dude,
Hey,
dropped the ball, turned straight to the crowd. It was just like, yeah. So Joe got to be on my list, man. Joe is definitely on my list, man. One of my favorite Browns players ever. For me, my honorable mention was somebody that was actually on your list. It was Kenny Lofton, because Kenny was like uber athletic, you know, as a young black kid watching baseball at that time. Of course, like, you just kind of gravitated towards the cool black athletes. And outside of Ken Griffey Jr., he was it. He was climbing walls just like Ken Griffey was. Like, he was that dude, and he had swag and he had attitude. And he was one of the first athletes who really always ripped the city of Cleveland. Matter of fact, I still think Kenny Lofton owns his house still in the city of Cleveland. So, you know, y'all let us know. That was the first ever top 5 in the land. Y'all let us know what y'all think about that list, man. Give us some suggestions on what's coming next.
Fun Kyrie episode. Number 2 though?
Huh?
Kyrie's second?
Yeah, who you got second?
I don't know, but it ain't. I'm thinking, like, I don't know. I gotta think. I mean, you might be right. You're probably right, because Kyrie's
we're gonna have to investigate that.
His talent is special. I don't know if he was here long enough. How long was he here? We drafted him first overall. I know we got to go. Sorry, we got to go.
I know, and it's funny you had Andy. I know somebody that's kind of Andy drunk too, like Anderson Perez drunk too. You know, I ain't gonna say no names, but they just as bad as you. I don't understand.
Andy was that dude, man.
I don't understand it,
he
but
was
hey,
that dude. He
brought the momentum. Man. Y'all know the vibes.
He got the crowd hype, man. LeBron do his thing. Let LeBron do him. Let me go jump in the crowd, get this rebound, throw it up. Let me get this got me excited.
Hey, last thing before we go. Manny Ramirez last at bat, right? Before everybody know, like when the Jacobs sold the team, it was different. Everybody that was a star player was about to be traded away or not re-signed. And we knew it was coming up to Manny's, I think it was the last game he was playing Kansas City. He comes up his last at bat. Everybody pretty much knows he's leaving Cleveland. And crowd going crazy. He steps away, tips his cap to the crowd, steps in the batter box, hits a home run. That's how you salute. That's how you send off. That's how we sending off. Till next time, y'all know the vibes. Be great, spread love. Being great come with a price. Spread love is priceless. Peace.